Hi folks, it's Diggy here again, and I've got another job to do today on my bike. I've got a luggage rack, genuine Royal Enfield luggage rack to fit on the back of the bike. I had a sort of good long think about it and which one to get, because there's one you can get that replaces the rear seat totally, so you've just got a single seat and then a rack over the rear mudguard, and that looks really nice. In fact, it looks a damn sight better than this thing. But the problem there is, if I've got it loaded up, then when I'm getting on and off the bike, I've got to do that lift your leg and throw it over thing. So, yeah, don't fancy doing that much. Also, with this one, because it's out the back, I can put luggage on there, and if it's just a weekend away or something, I can fill my panniers and maybe a wee bag on the back with the tent, and I can get on and off the bike a lot easier, which is good for me because, well, problems with my legs. But if I am going away for a long time, I can put like the tent on the back and then have another roll bag on the back of the bike and then just do the shuffle your leg through thing. So it gives me the option of carrying more luggage, even though it isn't quite as good looking as the solo seat rack, but function over form sometimes. So it's a nice item. I've had a good look round at the welds and things. They all seem nice. It's got a nice coat of paint on it. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with the quality. It's got the little Royal Enfield logo on the side to show it's a genuine part. So I'll get on with fitting this, and I'll see you just shortly. So I've taken the grab rail off. You just need a number 6 Allen key to do this job. And you think, well, 4 bolts, 1 Allen key, what could go wrong? Easy job. But the threads are manky, and they're manky with this red thread lock stuff. So I did a wee test fitting of the luggage rack, and I couldn't get the bolts to go in because the threads inside of here were clogged up with that red plasticky thread lock stuff. So I'll go get my tap and die set, and I'll have a wee clean at the threads and a wee explanation of how these tap and die sets work, and then we'll come back out and we'll get on with fitting the luggage rack. See you soon. Okay, so that's the bolts removed from the grab rail on the bike, and they've got this sort of red plasticky Loctite on the threads, and the new bolts that are supplied with the luggage rack have also got that on. It's like a dry thread lock almost. It's a plasticky kind of stuff that when you're screwing it in, it sort of melts and heats up, and then obviously locks the threads in, so you don't have to use your own liquid thread lock. Now the problem is, I tried putting a bolt in on through the seat on the bike, and it wouldn't go back in because the threads are absolutely clogged up with this red gunge. So I'm going to have to clean the threads out with my tap and die set. The bolts are M8 40s, so the diameter's M8 and the length is 40, but it doesn't tell you the thread pitch, the distance between the threads. You get all different kinds. So to use the correct tap and die set, you've got to find out the thread pitch. So you get your tap and die set there. I got this one from Halfords. It's pretty comprehensive, and you also get a feeler gauge. And so what you do is you start going through the different size gauges to check, and that's a 1.0. So if you put that in the threads, you'll see, hopefully be able to see there's some daylight between the threads and the feeler gauge, so that's obviously not the right size. So I'll go up another one, and this is 1.25. So put that in, and hopefully you can see, yep, there's no, you can't see through, so you know it's a 1.25 thread pitch. So there's that red gungy stuff on the teeth there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these bolts, and I've got an M8 1.25 tap or die, I can never remember which one's which, and I'm going to put a bolt in and just run it through, and that'll clean all the gunk off. It'll cut through it quite easily, so I don't need to hold the bolt in a vise or anything. So run that down and up, just to show you what's happening. And it's taking all that red gunk out of the threads. And these are nice looking bolts, so I think I'll keep them and use them for something else. Get this back out again. Wind it back out. There, and all the sort of red gunk is in there now. So, and that's the bolt, nice and clean, compared to another one that's still covered in red crap. So I could reuse these bolts for something else. And to clean the threads, the female threads on the bike, you use this one. That's an M8 1.25 as well, and it works the same kind of way. You screw it in and it cleans out all the gunk in the threads. So let's go out and do that. Okay, so we're back out at the bike, and I've had a wee go at this one already. I cleaned that one out, and this is the bolt that I previously cleaned in the kitchen, and as you can see, it runs in and out fine. That's it all the way in. And all the way out. Now this hole here is still dirty, and here's a dirty bolt with the red stuff on it. So if I go to run that one in, it immediately binds up on that stuff. It feels actually like it's going to cross thread. That's how tight it gets. So I'll take this one out, and I'll run my thingy-me, my tap die set thingy-me in it. Now I'm not using any sort of lubricant, because what could happen is when you put the new bolts in, the thread lock won't grip properly, so I'm just going in dry. That's it. I've got these bags in the road a wee bit, but I can feel it sort of cutting through the stuff. It's getting a wee bit tight there, so I'm just going to wiggle it back and forward a wee bit, and that cleans out the teeth on the cutter, cleans out the threads. I can see some of the stuff falling out as I'm doing this. It probably won't be on the camera right enough, but anyway, it's nearly all the way through now, so I just give it a good clean. A lot of the stuff will come out when I'm winding the thing back out. So it's gone really slack now, so that's it through. That's it gone all the way through, so I'll wind it back out. And I can see quite a lot of like wee bits of shavings, wee bits of metal shavings in the plastic, so it's cleaned the thread up. Cleaned it up nicely. So yeah, that's that. Give it a wee blow. Remember to shut your eyes when you're blowing stuff. And now this is the clean bolt, and it's just running in nice and easy now. That's all the way in, and then back out again. So when I go to put the luggage rack on, it'll be a damn sight easier. So I'm just going to repeat this process round the other side, and then get on to actually fitting the luggage rack. What else you notice is there's spacers. The spacers in the seat. That's where the shoulder of the bolt sits. So you've got that shoulder on the bolt that isn't threaded, and that sits inside the sleeve. It doesn't need to be threaded. It's only the bit that goes actually into the threads. So that's that. Got a shoulder on it. Just like the big engine bolt that I used when I was fitting the crash bars. It's got a massive long shoulder and then just a little bit thread on the end, because that's all you need for the nut. So that's a big shoulder bolt. So I'll get on with cleaning the other side out, and then I'll come back when I'm fitting the luggage rack. So that's the threads cleaned out, and so I'm going to put the rack into place. So I'm just sliding it in from the back. Before I do that, there's the little sleeves in the seat. Now there's metal ones at the back and black plastic ones at the front. You can see that. So you got to put these back in the same place, because I think the back ones are longer and the front ones are shorter. So if they do pop out, make sure you put them back in the correct holes. Right. Camera okay. So then slide the rack on from the back. Now I'm going to set the bolts in place just now, because what I don't want is the rack to clang down and damage my chrome. So I'll do this. I'll just get the bolts sitting in the wee sleeves just now, and then I'll go about trying to line up all the holes, because the seat's going to move in relation to the threaded holes, and the bolts might not line up straight away. No, that's not wanting to go. It's going to have to go higher or lower. See if this one's wanting to go in. That one looks like it's... yeah, that one's going in. Try round this side. Got one. That one. So this is always the problem. It's like taking a wheel off, taking the back wheel off or the front wheel off, and try to get all the spacers and the brake discs and everything lined up. It's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it goes straight in, sometimes it doesn't. So instead of boring you all to tears watching me flapping about trying to get the bolts lined up, I'll stop just now. I'll get them all started in their threads, and then I'll switch the camera back on because this is just a nonsense. Right, see you shortly. So I found out how to do it. If you push down quite firmly on the seat, it lines up all the holes. So that's this side in. So I'll try the same over here. See how it goes. See if I can get a start on these ones as well. I think that one's starting to bite now. Yeah, that's going in. I've got that one in as well. I don't want to wind them all the way in though until everything's caught. So the last one should be a bit easier. Yeah, that's it. That's it catching now. That's it catching now. I'm just making sure I haven't used the old bolts. That's the sort of thing I would do. Yeah, so I'll wind these in. I'll tighten this side up first and then I'll come back to your side. That's that one snugged up. That's that one snugged up. So like I said, these bolts sort of come with a dry, it's almost like a sort of powder coated plastic kind of thread lock on them, and then as you sort of wind the threads in, there's a bit of friction and a wee bit of heat, and that's what melts the plastic on the threads and locks them in position. That's it. I don't want to go crazy, but when you're trying to line up bolts and things like this, it's best to take your time, make sure they're correct, because what you don't want to do is cross thread them, because you could end up damaging parts of the motorcycle, you know, having to try and retap threads or drill them and then put bigger bolts in and things. So it's just not worth that kind of hassle. So be patient, take your time and do the job right. So that's us. Got a luggage rack. Let's stand back and admire me work. So, yeah, well, actually it doesn't look too bad on the bike. Doesn't look too bad at all. So it came with a wee sticker on it saying 3 kilograms maximum weight. If you do get one of these, it's entirely up to yourself whether you load it with more than that, but it seems very robust. I'm pushing down on it quite hard and it doesn't feel like it's going to bend or something, so I think Royal Enfield are just being a bit cautious, just so you don't end up putting a massive big hefty toolbox on and breaking it and then complaining. So they've got to give you some kind of weight limit. I love this wee gardening chair thing to sit on while I'm working on the bike. So that's us. Luggage rack on. Yesterday I put the comfort pegs or touring pegs or whatever they're called, I fitted them. I've got a video for that. Just recently I fitted the crash bars. So that's the big engine bolt I was talking about. It goes in here all the way through and it's just threaded on that end. It's just a big massive straight bar with a thread on the end. So that's my accessories so far. I think that's all of them. Yeah, crash bars, comfort foot pegs. Oh aye, these bags, I got these in Decathlon. These Elops budget bicycle panniers. They're just cable tied and clipped on. So they're sort of on permanent. Yeah, so this is it. That's everything I've done to the bike so far. All useful things. I don't see the point in tarting it up with for a breeze. So I'm quite happy. Looking forward to the start of the season proper, as it were, even though, you know, I'm still riding the bike through the manky weather, and I'll give it a good clean once the salt's off the road. Make sure there's no corrosion anywhere, and yeah, and get this loaded up. So like I say, I can put a big roll bag on there, another bag here, maybe the tent or something, and then just do the crazy leg shuffle to try and get on with. You have to sort of lift your leg and throw it in like that. That's why I didn't go straight for the single seat rack. I mean, it looks really nice. It comes out over where the passenger seat, pillion seat would be, and then you can fit the springs in there under the seat just to make it look really, really nice, vintage. But I've gone for function over form this time. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this has helped, and I'll see you all soon with my next video.